Welcome everyone to our heart opener practice today. We're going to be exploring some back bends, moving safely towards back bends and opening up our heart space. Let's begin today laying down on our backs and starting with our windscreen wiper knees. So taking your feet out a little bit wider than your hips and your shoulders. Take your arms out wide here as well, and then just dropping your knees down to one side. Turn your head the opposite way. Nice deep breath. Legs back through the middle and moving into the other side. As you bring your legs through the middle, see if you can connect your lower back to the mat and then dropping them the other way. Inhale as you drop your knees. Exhale as you bring your legs back through the middle, lower back maybe connecting with the mat and alternating sides. Let's do one more round to either side, up and over. And back to the other side. Bring your legs back through the middle. Now bring your feet so that they're hip distance apart. Bring your heels pretty close in towards your bottom, as close as you can get them. Press your hands firmly down into the mat. I want you to push your lower back into the mat, coming into a little bit of a pelvic tilt here, and then start to lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Slowly start to peel back down through your spine, one vertebrae at a time, connecting with the mat. And starting again, inhale as you lift your hips up, opening up through the front of your hips. Double check that your knees aren't drifting out, so see if you can keep the knees tracking forwards and slowly peeling back down again. Option to add some arms in here. Inhale, lifting your arms all the way up above you. Maybe the backs of your hands connect with the mat or the floor, and then slowly floating back down. Inhale, lifting up. Maybe you can start to lift your hips up a little bit higher, a little bit more of a back bend. And exhale, coming down. As we move into our back bends today and open up through the front of our chest, it's quite normal to feel a little bit vulnerable. It's not generally a position we move around the world in day to day. As we energetically open up through our heart space, if you feel any feelings of vulnerability arise, just see if you can breathe into that place, knowing that you're safe. And feeling the power that can come from embracing that vulnerability. Hug your knees into your chest now, nice and tight, and take a few little rock and rolls back and forth, all the way up into a seated position. From here, I want you to take one leg out in front of you and hook your other leg back behind you. Take your hands back behind you here and start to squeeze through the back leg glute. So you're pushing your hip up and forwards towards the top corner of your mat. Breathing deeply here, maybe even squeezing your heel in a little bit closer towards you. As we move into back bends, we really need to open up through the front of our hips as well, really important. So squeeze through the glutes, really feeling the length here. And if it works for you, you might like to lay back down onto your elbows. There's an option here, if you have a bolster, you may like to place the bolster behind you. And then just laying down on the bolster might be a nice sensation for you. You can even open your arms out nice and wide here, breathing deeply. Your hands, slowly sit yourself all the way back up. Keeping your legs in this position, we're going to start to reach forwards over our front leg. Now, the further away you take your front foot from your body, the more stretch you'll feel. You're more than welcome to place bolster or blocks underneath your elbows in front of you to bring the floor closer to you. So just finding what works for you here. Personally, I feel a really big stretch through my glutes, and some people feel a stretch through their inner thigh. So just finding what works for you and settling in. When you're ready, slowly coming all the way back up, let's move straight away into the other side. So opposite leg comes in front of you, other leg tucks back behind you, heel in towards your bottom, take your hands behind you, squeeze through your back leg glutes and press your hip forwards to the top corner of your mat. Maybe coming all the way down, laying on the block or the bolster or just onto your elbows behind you. See what feels good. Taking your arms out nice and wide. Keep squeezing through the back leg glutes to open up through the front of your hip. This is all preparation work for deeper back bends. Slowly making your way all the way back up and start to hinge forwards over your front leg, blocks or bolster in front of you. Most welcome. Maybe start to wiggle your front foot away from you a little bit more and finding what works for you. Do try not to lean to the side, so see if you can get your weight nice and centered over your front leg. Slowly make your way all the way back up. Remove any props that may be on your mat, and we're going to make our way over onto all fours. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, spread your fingers out and nice and wide. Keep your toes tucked under today and find your cow pose. Heart forward, belly down, shoulders drawing back. Really wrap the pointy bits of your elbows back towards you. Let your elbow creases shine forwards. Inhale here. And then exhale, lifting up into your downward facing dog, pressing your heels down towards the mat. Maybe take a little walk of your dog here, one heel pressing down and then the other. See how you feel. Doing any movements that feel all right for you here today. And then walking your feet all the way up to your hands, finding forward fold at the top end of your mat. Take a halfway lift here. Inhale, lengthening your spine forward, draw your shoulders back. See if you can get your weight into your toes, maybe even lift your heels off the floor a couple of times. And then exhale, forward fold over your legs. Inhale, stand tall, reaching your arms all the way up above you. And today I want you to bring your hands together, touching at the top. Can you reach your arms up nice and high, gaze up towards your thumbs, squeeze through your glutes, opening up through the front of your hips. Start to maybe lean back a little bit. Just going to where feels okay for you. Gazing back at your thumbs. From here, exhale, forward fold over your legs. Take a halfway lift as you inhale, hands to shins, shoulders draw back. And exhale, forward fold. Step back to high plank. Find a nice long line from the top of your head down to your heels. Wrap the pointy bits of your elbows back towards you, elbow creases forwards. Either staying on your toes or lowering to your knees. Come through low plank, chaturanga, elbows in. Come through to baby cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward in between your hands and lift up into a crescent lunge. Today you're going to interlace your hands together, fingers together, and push the palms of your hands up towards the sky. From here, can you lift your shoulders up towards your ears? Make sure that your front knee is tracking in line with your toes. Take a little bend in your back knee, squeeze through your glutes so you feel perhaps more length through the front of your left hip, and maybe you can take your gaze up towards your hands. Exhale, I want you to round your spine, curving forwards, and then inhale, reach your arms up high, gazing up. 2 more times, exhale, round, inhale, lift. 1 more time here, exhale, round, inhale, lift. Go ahead, take your hands down either side of your front foot. Step your right leg back, find downward facing dog, and moving straight away into the other side. Step your left foot forward in between your hands. Find stability in your legs, lift up to crescent lunge, interlace your fingers together, press the palms of your hands up towards the sky. From here, start to lift up, reach your spine long, maybe gazing up, and then exhale, rounding your spine forwards. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, rounding forwards. One more time, inhale, lift. Exhale, round, hands frame your front foot, step back, downward facing dog. Rise up high on your tippy toes, bend your knees, step or walk or jump to the top end of your mat. Take a halfway lift. Once you get there, long spine, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, standing tall, reach your arms all the way up high above you. Once again, palms touch. Inhale, lengthen up and maybe reach up and back. Squeeze through your glutes. Maybe go a little bit deeper this time if you like. And then exhale, forward fold over your legs. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale, fold hands to the mat. Step or float back through your vinyasa flow that works for you, or we'll meet in downward facing dog. Once you get there, step your right foot forward in between your hands. Lift up to crescent lunge, interlace your hands together, reach your arms up high, gaze up, reach back if you like. Exhale, round forwards. Take your hands down either side of your front foot. Drop your back knee to the mat this time. Reach your right arm forwards and all the way back around. From here, perhaps you can squeeze your left heel in towards your bottom and catch a hold of your foot and push your foot into your hand. Nice deep breath. If you like, start to lift your left arm up towards the sky here. Keep gazing back at your left toes. And then maybe you can even hook your foot a little bit higher up into your elbow. Hold. From here, release, cartwheeling your arms down either side of your front foot. Pick your back knee up off the mat. Push firmly through your arms. Can you float your right leg back up into three-legged dog? From here, open your top hip. Bend your knee, finding scorpion pose. Option to find a wild thing, dropping your right foot to the floor behind you. Lift your hips up high and reach your right arm up and back. Stay strong through your shoulder here, and if it's not quite ready, just keep your hips a little bit lower. Slowly float yourself all the way back with control, finding downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward in between your hands. Lift up, crescent lunge, interlacing your fingers together, arms up, reach up, gaze up if possible. Exhale, round your spine forwards. Take your hands down either side of your front foot, drop your back knee to the mat, reach your left arm forward and reach it all the way back. Holding here, squeeze your heel in towards your bottom and find a twist. Option to float your right arm off the floor, this time reaching up and back. Maybe you can pop your foot in closer towards your elbow crease and reaching up and back. So really feeling that length through the front of your right thigh. Don't forget to breathe. Cartwheel your arms down either side of your front foot. Pick your back knee up off the mat. Can you sweep your left leg up into the air behind you? Open your hip, bend your knee, finding scorpion pose. Option to stay here or flip it on over. Stay strong through your supporting shoulder. Lift your hips up and reach your top arm up and over. Squeeze through your glutes to help you. Really important. From here, floating back through plank this time. Optional, it's always optional. Vinyasa flow coming through your low plank, baby cobra or upward facing dog. And this time pressing back into child's pose, hips to heels, deep breath. Slowly make your way all the way down onto your belly. Forehead to the mat, legs long behind you. Hands underneath your shoulders. Squeeze your shoulder blades back and towards each other and start to lift your heart up. Nice back extension here. From here, squeeze your left heel in towards your bottom. Reach your left hand back. See if you can catch a hold of your foot and just push your hip into the mat. Maybe you can lift your thigh off the floor. Try not to let your knee go out to the side though, so keep it back behind you. If this is working for you, take your right hand out a little bit further forwards in front of you. You might want to lift your chest up higher and kick your leg up higher as well. So it's kind of like a half bow pose here. Hold and breathe. Slowly release. And we'll move into the other side. Lifting your chest up. Squeeze your right heel in towards your bottom. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other and stay supported and lifted here with your core. So think of drawing your navel in towards your spine. Grab a hold of your foot. Maybe you can start to come into a quad stretch here, lifting your thigh off the floor. If it works for you, take your left hand a little further forwards and lifting up. See if you can really kick your foot back into your hand. Nice long spine. And slowly floating yourself all the way back down. Just taking a moment of rest here, forehead to the mat. And maybe just gently wiggle your hips side to side. Okay. Moving into bow pose now. Bend your knees, heels in towards your bottom. Reach your hands back, grab a hold of your feet. From here, try not to let your knees drift out, but keep them straight back behind you. Push your feet into your hands and let that help you guide your chest up. Now, if you like, lift your thighs off the floor here and then keep pushing your feet into your hands and keep your gaze forward so the back of your neck stays nice and long. Deep breaths here. Maybe you can release your feet and keep your chest lifted as you reach your arms forwards and then slowly lay yourself all the way down. We're gonna roll straight over onto our backs now. And we're gonna return to the windscreen wipers that we began with today. So feet out a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Take your arms out wide and start to drop your knees down to one side. Turn your head the opposite way. Exhale, legs back through the middle, lower back presses towards the mat, other side. Turning your head the opposite way. And really use this as an opportunity to rinse and relax your lower back, your upper back, your shoulders. A little bit of recovery here before we move into our final back bend for today, which will be our bridge or wheel pose. And bring your legs back through the middle. Now, options here, of course, you can use a block underneath your hips if you would like. Start to bring your heels in nice and close to your bottom, really, really close. Another option to just check if your knees aren't going out to the side is to actually bring the block between your thighs here as well. So if you have two blocks, let's do this. Pop one block between your thighs and one block is going to go underneath your hips and just hold. If you don't have blocks, keep your hips lifted, knees tracking forwards. If you're ready to take this to the next level, so this is fine if you want to stay here right now today, absolutely fine. If you want to give it another little go, take one block away from underneath your hips. See if you can start to drive your hips up higher, interlace your hands underneath you, and can you wiggle your shoulder blades a little bit closer towards each other, and then push your pinky fingers down into the mat. Lift your hips up. Hold and breathe. See if you can lift your hips up even higher. Really open up through the front of your hips. So imagine your knees tracking really far forwards towards the top end of your mat. And then releasing your hands, slowly peel all the way back down through your spine. If you have the block between your thighs, place it to the side. Take your feet out nice and wide and let your knees rock in towards each other. Place one hand on your lower belly, one hand on your lower ribs, breathing into the hands here. And we're going to repeat our bridge pose with the option to move into the full wheel. Full wheel being up on your hands. Few options here. Stick to your bridge, block under the hips. If you like, normal wheel with your hands underneath your shoulders. If you're new to the wheel, you can place blocks underneath your feet. And this is going to help lift your body up a little bit higher and create a little bit more space for you, but you really want to make sure that your blocks aren't going to slide out from underneath you. Really important. So do what works for you, but see how you feel with your feet on top of the blocks. You'll feel that your hips go up higher a little bit easier. This is a really nice feeling, creating a little bit more space through your back. You can play around with balancing on one leg, play around with balancing on the other leg. Or if you're feeling up to it and your blocks aren't going to slip, either with your feet on the blocks or feet on the floor, carefully placing your hands beside your shoulders. You do need a lot of wrist mobility here as well. You're going to push firmly through your arms. First, come up onto the top of your head. Then push through your legs and lifting up, straightening your arms, maybe even straightening your legs for a more advanced option. Make sure that your knees don't drop outwards, but keep them forwards. And breathing here. Squeeze through your glutes and embrace any feelings of vulnerability. Maybe this is a completely new feeling for you. It's totally fine. Slowly and carefully, you'll come down onto the top of your head first, and then slowly coming down through your spine. If you use the blocks carefully, bring them to the side. Come into our recovery pose one more time, taking your feet out as wide as the mat is. Let your knees drop in towards each other. And maybe this time you take your arms out wide like goalposts. Close your eyes if you'd like. And we'll take our rest in this position today. Or if you'd like to find normal Shavasana with legs and arms long, please do so. Settling into your breath. Feel free to remain here for as long as you need. When you're ready, slowly rolling over onto one side, making your way up into a seated position. Maybe keep your eyes closed today. See how you go. I'd like to conclude our practice today with a quote I love by Brené Brown. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's our greatest measure of courage. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up above you, palms touch at the top. And exhale, bring your hands down through heart center. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love our health and fitness program. It's a holistic, fuss-free lifestyle with daily coach workouts, family-friendly meal plans, and practical mindfulness. Head to mytxo.com to sign up today.